Hello Steelers, and welcome to this response video to Big Lee's miniature war games. Recently, Lee had made a video about monetizing your hobby. As one of his talking points that he does lots of really good ones. Go and check them out because his videos are fantastic. He has some really interesting subjects that he talks about. I'll put a link down in the description. Now, Lee was talking about monetizing your hobby, and in particular monetizing a YouTube channel, which is probably one of the easiest ways to do it. His stance on it was that he doesn't, but he understands why some people do. My stance on it is that I do. I understand why some people don't. However, I would also urge those people to rethink what they're doing as well. A few reasons for this, and I'll talk about those in a bit. But first of all, I'm just going to touch kind of quickly on how you can monetize your hobby, and if you have a YouTube channel, through YouTube. I mean, first of all, you need to have a certain amount of subscribers. I currently think as it stands it's 1,000, and you also have to have a certain amount of views, and I think again currently as I recall it's about 40,000 views. The simplest way to actually make that money is through YouTube advertising. YouTube over the last year or so have massively changed their advertising policies. They've really ramped things up quite recently as well, in the last week or so, and they've even stopped people using ad blockers on Google. You're not allowed to use those anymore on YouTube. You weren't anyway, but now Google has actually seemed to be working with YouTube to stop people using them on their browser. So you have to turn them off before you can watch videos. So YouTube is already creating revenue for itself by you watching those adverts. Now, as a monetizer, one of the easiest things you can do is you can monetize and say you want adverts on your videos, because YouTube's going to put them on anyway. My argument here is that if YouTube is going to make money, you may as well make the money. It's not a huge amount of money, to be fair, and also, you know, in any case here, any of these techniques that I'm talking about here, you have to declare them to the taxman. I do. I am registered as self-employed, as well as also having a full-time job, and I pay taxes every year on my earnings that I get from YouTube. So, you know, I urge you to do that as well. I'll look into it. Now, advertising is not a huge amount of money. I mean, you could. The thing with YouTube advertising is, when you are monetized, you can decide where those adverts go within your video. So what I try to do is I try to minimize them. I have them at the start, I have them at the end, and I generally have one in the middle. If it's a very long video, I might break it up every 30 minutes or so with an advert. Now, that's, you know, YouTube will also automatically place them if you don't do that, and YouTube places them where there's a point of silence in your video. So sometimes if you're not speaking continually, or there's not noise or continually, you will get a lot of adverts. Now, I've been stung by that in the past where people have said, oh, you know, you had so many adverts, so I had to go back and change things. So what I do is I try to minimize the impact on the viewer. You know, we are continually bombarded by adverts anyway, where whatever you do, I think, so we're kind of also, you know, we're kind of fine-tuned to them. They are annoying, of course they are, but I also think as well, if I'm watching a YouTube video and I just have to sit through a 5-second video that I know somebody is getting some money from, then I'm happy to do it, because I know the amount of work that's gone into making that video in the first place. So that's your basic monetization. It is basically just drawing in that advertising revenue, and as I say, YouTube are doing it anyway, so they're going to be getting the money. You may as well get that money. You know, if I watch one of Big Lee's videos, even though he hasn't monetized, that money is going somewhere when an advert comes up. So I prefer the way it went to Lee himself, because, as I say, I know the amount of work that's gone into it. The other thing as well is, the next one is these are not really in hierarchical stance, but the other one is Patreon, or channel memberships, for example, or any other third-party organisation that basically pays you for content, or, you know, people will pay you for content. And I have a number of Patreons. I also have some channel memberships as well. And I set the price of those very, very low, and I allow people to decide how much they want to pay, if they want to pay. And I don't, you know, I mention it in videos, just saying if you want to help out, you know, join the Patreon, join the channel memberships, but I don't push it any more than that. because you know it is annoying, and I know it's annoying when other people do it. But again, when you're watching a lot of YouTube videos, the bigger ones in particular, you will always notice that they talk about Patreon. So it's kind of water off a duck's back for the most part. The other thing with those is you also have to feel a little bit as though you have to provide something for the community as well. And unfortunately, as I already mentioned it, I do have a full-time job, so I can't do this full-time. If I could do this full-time, I would probably make a lot more exclusive Patreon and membership material. As it stands, what I do is I will put out, when I make a video, most of my videos come out on a Friday, I will make them available for Patreons and channel memberships, for channel members, on the Monday, so they get a full week before anyone else gets to see it. It's a demonetized video as well. I don't know if adverts appear on it. If they do, that's not because of me, that's because of YouTube, but I demonetize it so that people can see a ad-free video for the first. So I'm kind of trying to give something back, at least, you know, for people's money. And you know, it's hard-earned money. You know, at the end of the day, it's down to the individual if they want to give you the money. And I certainly pay into quite a few other Patreons as well. You know, I support a couple of other YouTube channels here on Patreon. I also support some other content providers as well in other channels as well. So some of that money goes back into it, and the money that I make off Patreon and off advertising all goes back into making more videos anyway, and improving, you know, my setup, and also you know, equipment and that kind of thing. So it is, you know, the money is reinvested back into the channel, and I'm trying and hoping that I'm trying to make better and better videos each time. Whether I'm doing that or not is a different matter, but you know, that is what I'm trying to do. The other way you can do things is you can sell merchandise or products, Wargaming products. I've tried this in the past a couple of times, usually through eBay. I have thought about setting up an online shop. There are obviously issues with that because you have to maintain stock. You also have to have, you know, a place to hold that stock. You've got to be on the ball when it comes to customer relations, and it's, you know, it's a whole big thing in itself. And I've tried selling various other products, not just Wargaming products, online to varying degrees over the years. But they've always come and gone, and you kind of really have to have a real interest in it. Now I know that there are other channels out there. I'm not going to name any names here, but you know, I know who they are, and I'm sure they know who they are if they're watching this, but they also sell things, you know, through their channels. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you want to set up an online store to sell material and then talk about it on your channel, absolutely perfectly fine. You know, as long as people know that's what you're doing, that's great, and they do. You know, so you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that kind of outlet as well. But it does just take, because you're handling physical products, it does take, you know, a little bit more. You've also got to contact all the different suppliers, negotiate prices for various things. For example, Warlord Games, for example, do a very good discount on their wholesale prices, and you can go and you don't need a minimum order either. You can just go in as a buyer and just buy quite a bit. And again, I've sold quite a bit of their stuff through the channel, but you know, that's just another way of doing things. Sponsorships is a route that I haven't gone down so much. I have thought about it in various places, and you know, once again, there are a lot of hobby channels out there that do have sponsorships, and it's generally, from how I understand it, is they will pay you a sum for you to basically have an advert of your making on the channel. So it might be like about a minute or so, just talking about the product that you are selling. Sometimes these are tied into the actual the content of the show itself. Sometimes these aren't. These are completely opposite. Like it might be clothing, or it could be Squarespace, which is the typical one. A lot of people done Squarespace advertising. They seem to advertise with everybody by the looks of it. Again, it's something I've not really explored in any great detail. I just see it appearing on other people's channels and things. But again, once again, if that's the kind of thing, the way you want to go, then absolutely fine. I have zero problem with that at all. You know, if somebody wants to make some money off the work that they're doing, then happy for it. And then the other thing as well is getting free stuff. which is almost like sponsorships, and this is something that I have had and have done. And this is basically where a company may get in touch with you and they'll say, do you want to have a look at these rules, or do you want to have a look at these new figures, or do you want to do a review of XYZ, whatever it is that they're producing. And I've been approached by quite a lot of companies in the last few years. Some of these things I have refused, not point blank, but because I didn't I thought it didn't fit with the channel. Some things I have reviewed and it certainly didn't fit with the channel, and they didn't get great views anyway, those videos. And I kind of, I just had the thing and didn't really know what to do with it because it wasn't my particular interest. Nowadays I'm a lot more definite about what I do put on the channel and what I don't. If there's something that's it's out of my depth, I don't see there's any point in me reviewing it because I don't know enough about it. I can review, figures, how nice they look. I can't tell you how historical they look if they're from a particular period, for example, that I don't know. But yeah, the other thing, the thing with getting free stuff is, in a way, it's almost like a sponsorship. And you do have to mark it as well on your YouTube, just to say that it includes a paid promotion, because in a way it is a paid promotion. Not that you are getting money physically, you are actually getting something for it. So it's still a paid promotion, and I do as well. I think I've probably forgotten to do it in a couple, but I will always say that these were sent to me for free. I will say if I bought something. But basically, if you're watching the thing and I said it was sent to me by free, then it was. If I don't mention it, then I bought it myself, and that's kind of how I see it from that point of view. So there are some of the ways that really you can make a bit of money on the side with your YouTube channel. Let's say you don't really need to have a huge amount of numbers to get some money in. I make a nice amount of money from my advertising. I'm quite happy with it. It goes back into, as I say, into the channel anyway, and into the hobby in general, so I can create that content for people in the future. I'm certainly not living a millionaire lifestyle off it on a beach in the Seychelles, for example. I don't think I ever will be, not doing historical wargaming, for example. But Lee was saying that he doesn't monetize, so my argument is that I think he should really rethink that and just have a look at it and just try it out. I think even at a low level, because my take on it is, I put this content out there for people. I do it because I enjoy it. I do it because it's a part of the hobby. It's part of the wider hobby. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy seeing people's reactions to the things that I put out there. People when they give me the thumbs up or they say that was good, and comments, that kind of stuff. I really like it. We all do. We all like that dopamine hit. But I also understand the huge amount of work that goes into creating a video. And for example, Lee's stuff, it may seem as though all he's just sitting there and just talking to you for 15 minutes. I know he's not, because he has to create a script for that. He then has to record that. He then has to edit that down as well to get rid of all of his fluff lines, so it looks as though he's just, speaking normally. And there is a huge amount of work just in those short ones. I mean, the videos that I put up as a hobby update each week are on average about 10-15 minutes long. They take at least an hour or so, 2 hours to create from beginning to end. So that includes, writing down what I've done, filming all the things that I've painted, filming the actual hobby report, and this is literally just me. I don't edit those. I do minimal editing on them, but then I have to edit it, so adding in all those different bits and pieces, and then uploading it, exporting it, releasing it, putting it up, and all that thing. So I know there's a huge amount of work in it, and it is a lot of legwork. To scrape a little bit back from advertising, because as I say, it would have otherwise gone to YouTube anyway. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and I would encourage anybody to do it. Absolutely. The other things are a little different in that, like I say, Patreons and channel memberships, you are then almost beholden to those people to create some content, and also it can put pressure on you, and it also to give people something as well. It is also you've got to come up with these ideas as to how you're going to reward them. Let's just take an example here. I mean, Travis over at Tabletop CP, they have a Patreon only stream, live stream that you can watch. You know, if you're paid up Patreon, which I am of Travis. So there's things like that you can do, you know. But again, it is they are things that you have to think about and take on. And the other stuff as well, like I said, selling merch or products. All of that, you know, it comes with a cost in time and effort and stock and etc. As does sponsorships as well. You've got to work those out, and then also just, you know, even when somebody sends you something for review, you know, it would be completely immoral really to gain it or get all this stuff and then just review it or never review it, should I say, and then just keep it or sell it on. You know, so you feel bound to do something with that. So I would say, overall, you know, I wouldn't make it your end goal, but if you want to monetize your hobby, and if you think you can monetize your hobby, then absolutely go for it. I mean, I have no problem with it whatsoever. I don't think there's an issue with it. I really don't think that, you know, there is a problem with somebody putting, you know, effort into something and getting a little bit back. That's basically how I see it, really. You might be different, your mileage may vary, as they say. If it does, let me know in the comments. You know, my stuff is going to be free, it's always going to be free, it's always going to be available on YouTube as far as I can keep making videos, and you know, that will last forever. I'm not going to be exclusive in that from that point of view, so there's no need to worry about it. But I also, you know, I'm happy as well just to make a little bit off the back of it. So I will say to you, thank you if you have sat through this, and also some of the adverts that I will inevitably put on this video. Thank you for watching those, because they have, you know, brought back a little bit of cash for me. And I'll see you in the next Storm of Steel video.